Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're ready to buckle your belts and firmly grasp the armrests of your chairs because we are about to go on another wild ride of hardcore vanilla Minecraft here on the Hambbage channel on YouTube. Uh, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump back in and try to remember what it was we were working on because it has been a day. Those adjustments when you go from weekend mode where you're just kind of immersed to coming back on a Monday evening, and that's my situation right now. I am just getting going, and we are here for an evening. So let's hang on one second while we go in here. We're gonna find out if that worked muting through the app. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to make a cut because I just coughed. So yeah, new stuff for me. As we've talked about in the past, haven't been real sure about the functionality of the headset mic on the or mute button on the cable, and would prefer to have an easier control. So we just tried the in-app touch control. And when I finish up this recording, I will try to remember to watch the first few seconds and see if that cough was covered up. I think it was, but needless information for all of you guys, the behind-the-scenes look. So, what were we doing and where were we at? We had definitely done a lot of work with our friendly villagers. We'd gotten down to one guy, I believe, and he was not giving us the trades we wanted. We'd come back over, we're picking up some stuff to restock our supplies, but I think that this mainly reflects that our fields weren't ready to go, and that was the limitation. We've done, in the last episode, as I recall, we did a couple of diamond runs where we still have completely kind of bombed out. We have no reserve of diamonds. We've got a couple items left to enchant. Our pieces of armor. Hang on one second. Let's get out of the crafting mode. So we were real happy with our diamond chest plate, not pack. It is ready to go, and as you can see, it has healed up, pulling that mending experience. So great shape there. That's basically done, ready to go. Our diamond sword is getting closer. It's got a lot of the stuff we really care about, and we'll begin to improve again now that we throw mending on it. Again, our axe, aside from one more efficiency, it is ready to go. So we've been using that. That's why we have melons. And we got an unwelcome creeper guest outside, which is not entirely awesome, but not unmanageable either. We just want to make sure that when we go out into the world here, we don't pull him back onto our construction. So we got another guy here. He's probably getting close. And as I said, as I recall having said, don't want to use up too many arrows or the bow duration yet. Again, I'm just kind of regathering my thoughts. I haven't, I typically will do a little bit of a quality check on some of the videos just to make sure that they're recorded, but I haven't done a lot of watching. And if you guys are finding that audio levels need to be adjusted, have any recommendations along those lines, please feel free to leave a comment. Let me know. I'm going to kind of assume that they're good unless I have something specific to look at, and just get them posted. That continues to go pretty smoothly for anyone who hasn't done a whole lot of the YouTube content creation, and sometimes I feel like I'm the last person on earth to even think about that kind of stuff, so it's probably old news, but doing the longer videos as they are Caught yet another just kind of random interruption in a load, and I don't know what slowed it down exactly. I set mine up when I'm doing content loading in onto the YouTube site. I made the video and get it populating. I just set my machine not to not to go to sleep or drop off, and at least on my internet connection, it's pretty close to duration is the amount of time that you need to allocate. Sometimes they're a little quicker, sometimes they're a little slower, but it's in that ballpark. So that's what I've kind of been focusing on. And now as I'm back over here, I remember while we're waiting on our fields, we need more villagers to grow up. And that was kind of our limitation. I think we're maxed out there. So let's quickly see who wants pumpkins and who wants melons. We'll just do a quick conversion of everything we got. And I'm not even, I suppose I should be a little more worried. He just wants beets. I was going to say I should be a little more worried about the less promoted guys. Once they get all the way up, they go into this blue diamond. Those are the what are they? Master traders? Yeah, master traders at that point. So it would be nice, but I do think we need another full harvest to get those. Now we're looking for the one other guy. This guy, because I think we have two that want pumpkins. And the salvation there is that they at least go through more of them. And this was a pretty good example of what we're going to encounter. Our pumpkins are going to go more quickly than our melons are going to go much more quickly than our pumpkins because they don't take as many to get those emeralds. So we'll go through those pretty quickly. But hey, for a boat ride and kind of a starting point on the day, we just threw another 50 emeralds into our chest, which is wonderful. And yeah, and again, I think our top priority for the world is getting enough potatoes, carrots to get our villagers to have some more young and fill up the available rooms that we've made for them. That's going to be a new priority. That way we can roll through and breaking my train of thought here. We can roll through trades not more quickly is what I was going to say. You can't go any faster than one at a time with the guys and just churn them. But you blow through a whole day and don't find anything that you want, and that does happen towards the end of it more often. Sometimes it's nice to have a couple of them, and even if it's just tricking your mind, it's nice to go get a fresh person to interact with or hope to get a good trade out of. So this was the piece that we missed, and I apologize if you guys are coming straight out of that last video. Please understand that was kind of into the early evening on Sunday, and I hadn't kept going with additional recordings, and now we're through the weekend I'd done a bunch of play sessions, kind of back to back with some breaks in between, but more or less, using some free time for that. Today I didn't. I came back to it this evening, and here again I live in Colorado, and here it's been a gray, rainy, cold, wet spring day, and late afternoon, kind of the and I didn't see exactly when it switched over, but in the kind of 3:30 to 5:30 range, we switched over. When I did look at it, about 5:30 or so, it was definitely white out there. So we just got a couple days ahead of not real enjoyable outdoor weather. The one salvation has been that it hasn't been real windy yet, knock on wood, but we'll see how that keeps up. So I was glad when we went back over there that we still had potatoes and carrots. So we're gonna just flood these in. And I guess I'm trying to recall. He's got carrots. He's got carrots. Early sign is that we should be using potatoes, and that's kind of the general best practice anyway. Potatoes go as low as anything in terms of emeralds per individual amount of the crop. So potatoes are going to be in that 24 to 26 range, I think. And the carrots are close, but usually I think in the 22 to 24-ish. And just pulling those out of my head here, so a little forgiveness if those are not entirely accurate. But this is good stuff. I think just with those 3 stacks, we should get another handful of villagers. When they grow up, they'll take jobs. We've gone through this process now. I'm not going to highlight a whole lot, but this is the one guy we'd worked with the most, and so far he hasn't given us anything we've been very excited about. So we'd like to get him. This is can be the challenger on blocks. If you don't get a good tossing angle, they stay on your side, which is why I like that outer half step when I'm setting these guys up, is just to keep them journey. So now we're just gonna, before I do that, we're gonna store a few stacks. 1, 2, 3, and those we'll keep for just another batch of breed them up. And our earlier work with the melons and the pumpkins has gotten some of these guys excited enough to offer us a little bit of a sale, and that's good stuff. And I don't know which one he was. So here, 21 instead of 22. Yeah, it's more of a it's one of those customer appreciation things that stores sometimes do. Yeah, it may not make you get you a down payment on your next car or anything like that, but it lets you know that they know you're a valued customer. And yeah, little guy, go get in that bed. We still got one more available, and during this evening time, I think what we're gonna do before we go to bed, and I do plan to sleep pretty quickly here as opposed to working through it, but we'll go ahead. I'm gonna grab 4 beds, one for myself, and then 3 others, and I'll just grab 4 of the lecterns. I want these rooms. Oh, I'd already done this one. I'm sorry, I didn't see that. So this one's ready to go. When we have adults, we can kind of herd them that way. And I'm gonna set up these 2 so that we're ready. And this is kind of the one-off. I guess we'll line it up on this room. So we'll put the beds on the side near to the farmer area, and we'll do the lecterns in the other corner, just to keep it kind of not symmetrical, but consistent, orderly, nice. And yeah, with those set up, hopefully all the potatoes we threw down, they're gonna do more. We only have 1 kid so far, but I hope that they'll decide to make a few more. We may want to throw a few more of these potatoes out at them when we get going in the next day. But let's go ahead and sleep, and not waste time just yet doing the digging, that kind of stuff. We've got a backlog on space. We're way ahead in that regard, way behind on the actual people. So in the hopes that maybe they just had too many spread out between them, I'm gonna give them every opportunity to have plenty. And I don't know if that throwing carrots or potatoes or bread or anything else to them if that affects the sales when they are trading. But it's certainly, that's going to drive the breeding, and that's great. So we got two little guys already, and I don't know, depending on the claiming of the beds, if they'll do more. They have to be accessible from within here, and I think that's by the adults. So I think at this moment, the two that we have will have to just bounce around until the next night. Then we can break those beds, force them into other rooms, and go. So, as I say all that, obviously we've got more than just that. So, who knows? But the good news is we've got a few more of those traders ready to go. And with that, let's do another round of optimism. I'm even going to grab the signs because I'm optimistic. I want this to work out well. Because I'm realistic, we'll take the extra lecterns as well, because this guy, at least the last time around, was very active and prone to trying to step in between us and the lectern. So, depth strider 2, not what we wanted. Now, it's possible. I just went in and broke that again, and I accidentally done it once the last time. Usually if I come back, he may have changed his offer just through lack of use, so I should have probably checked just to be careful, but whatever. That's why we got extra. Now, we'll get those to... What? Why? So you see, it goes back to 6. They don't steal them, per se, but you do want to have the extras just ready to go so that when you get one that likes to try to anticipate where you're going to place, they will not be quite as much of a nuisance. As we talked about a few times, just catching up stuff, as I believe we still are awaiting a first villager that's got a book trade we're going to keep and buying paper. So that's something we wouldn't mind seeing. That was this big chance. And I don't know if there's any correlation between the ones that offer the book in the top slot and then don't buy paper, or the ones that offer paper and want paper in the top slot and offer a book in the second. If that means that there's any difference in the books, I certainly have had good ones where they bought paper and sold books in that lower slot. And for anyone who isn't current on the state of our enchanting, really, the only two we're looking for right now are Efficiency 5 and Unbreaking 3. There are others we'll take later, but those are the two that are going to let us finish out equipment that we already have and what we're going to use across our full slate of equipment. The one other that we would buy on site would be a Fortune 3. We talked about that a lot too. We'll want it definitely for a hoe and definitely for a pick. It's about it, but just having that one in hand is well worth it. So I don't care that it's fairly expensive at that price. We're only going to ever buy 2 of them, most likely. Maybe a novelty one down the road. But that's another needed one down. And that was at 43 emeralds. So done. And he finally broke our will. We knew after that long day that you were never going to give us what we really wanted, but you came through eventually. You gave us something good. The the other note from the last day was that we had improved our price on mending pretty significantly. I think our first mending trade was at 30 emeralds, and we got another one later that was selling those for 10 emeralds each. So, we're now effectively buying 3-for-1 mending books, and mending is something that we'll continue to buy. The other ones that I would do that on are the ones that we're still waiting on. Really, it's Unbreaking 3 and Efficiency 5. They're going to go on all our tools. So we'll take whatever our first offer is on those, and even if we need to endure brutal prices for a while, we'll take them in the hopes that even if we have to wait a while, we may get a cheaper price later on. And we'll see with Fortune 3 now. So this Fortune 3 will make our diamond pick pretty immediately enchantable when we go back to the enchanting table. We'll have to get up to at least 30 levels, and we don't have a whole lot there. But now we're kind of stuck. I think let's go drop off all this stuff. And I know it takes just a moment to get it all set up and then turn around and undo it all. But at this point, I think our next best use of time is to go back and check our fields again. We want those villagers to grow up, and just piecing the halls and cheering them on doesn't exactly get it done. But our fields are getting close, and each time you go away and come back, you're going to reload those chunks. And this is another one I don't know the full mechanics on, but I think particularly in the growing up of villagers, when you've been away and you've had some of those that are on effectively a timer waiting for a load, that they may get a review when you reload those chunks that may give them an increased slightly chance to grow up effectively. I don't know if that's really legitimate or if I'm just wishful thinking there, but all right, we really are still a ways off from harvesting. Excuse me. We could definitely do our pumpkins and our melons if we wanted to, but we're, at this point, we're really waiting on a lot of this stuff. Our beets are the closest, and our carrots, I think we've done potatoes and wheat. We're kind of off cycle. We hadn't done a full batch recently, but that's okay. We'll let everything have a little more chance to grow, and that means our next favorite repeatable activity is fair game, and that would be our little cows and chickens over here. So which means it's probably about time to get dark, because okay, well, cows, you guys get a break. We've paid a lot of attention to you guys anyway. Chickens, on the other hand, and this will work out pretty well. I think we can blow through a full stack of seeds just in feeding, maybe. And then we'll have the 4 extra to get back out again, kind of pull into a corner and run away. We're pretty close. We had selectively harvested a few just to add a few more arrows previously, but I think since we're really looking for that XP these days, and I don't have a reason particularly not to. Well, once again, the sun's going down, so rather than starting to get into a harvest, let's just finish out this stack, if that's valid, just as we planned. So now we're going to use the 4 and pull them all over, and you saw that little bit of a delay then they kind of have to regain their focus on the wheat. So, boom, boom. By pulling them back in a way, we get them away from the gates. And then when there's a bunch of chickens like that, it's not a bad idea. I mean, you can certainly time it and do it fine without, but when you completely use up your wheat supply, it, particularly with the chickens, gets tough to get back out of there. So, we fed them. We're going to go in and chop them. And here, we don't... we can certainly use our axe because we're not getting much out of the silk touch, and I want the XP as opposed to even trickling the mending back onto my other axe. And, you know, if I'm constantly chopping angle, it'll be getting wear and fixing itself. What I will do, though, we talked about this and haven't shown it yet, so I'm going to hold the sword in my other hand, and this will slow down our leveling just a bit, but at the same time, we'll get our sword fully set back up, and then just through normal use, our sword is going to be pulling back experience when we use it to, you know, kill mobs or fish or anything else out there. So definitely well suited. You can kind of see down there the twitch on the screen where it shakes a little bit. Those are the times when it's getting some of that experience total. And since chickens don't have a mass of experience, it's just getting a little bit better each time, and that means, you know, if we were doing Enderman, if we killed this many, it would probably already be set or close to it. But here, it's going to be a little bit more of a gradual process, but it will definitely be good to have our sword back in solid shape. And we can do this with any tool or weapon. And many folks will be familiar with the variety of EXPE farms where you basically make it easy and efficient to get a steady source of monsters and kill them for not only loot but easy experience. And one of the most readily available there is the Enderman. I have there goes the iron axe. So I guess we've reached our limit there. Oh, that was not what I wanted to do at all. Don't just decide to drop your enchanted iron or diamond sword because of inventory. Not that the chickens would steal it; they're good chickens, but it's one you don't want to just potentially run away from and let despawn for sure. So as you can see, we've got a whole bunch of feathers now. That's done. Chicken. We've got raw chicken stacks for days, and we've already eaten a piece of raw chicken and a piece of cooked chicken. So, other than just for variety's sake, that's going to be a pretty low priority food source. Cooked chicken does not fill you up as much as either beef or pork or cooked salmon, among a few others, I'm sure, but those would definitely be my preferred food types. You know, I'm just going to carry around a stack. I think even baked potatoes may do a better job than the cooked chicken. So it's one, you know, if it's early on and you haven't found cows, getting your chicken farm started just to get some good food is well worthwhile, and experience alone will help you out. But once you have other options, you want it to say you've got it, but that's about it. So we're going to do one more little run around in here to pick up all the stuff that we gathered. We had so many eggs that we didn't have any room in our pockets for the feathers and meat and all that kind of stuff. The one other thing I shouldn't just discount with the chicken. There is a butcher trader in the villages, and if you're doing this for a lot of experience and want to, I think, and I don't do this a whole lot with my own worlds, or haven't. We can maybe for science it here when we have some more pressing needs addressed. But you, I believe, can get those to offer to purchase chicken, and that would be raw. And then you could just take your excess stacks that you're never going to eat and get some emeralds back for those. But we've got, as you guys have seen, we've got very good supplies, and the melons and the pumpkins in particular are going to keep us well stocked with emeralds. Because I've been pushing this pretty hard for our enchantments, and it's a little more constant than I'd really prefer. In the very first episode, I talked about how one of the things that I see as whether it's a trend or just a viewer appealing playstyle of doing everything really fast in Minecraft. If you're a content creator, particularly some of the really high view count YouTubers that do other games as well, they put a real premium on getting into the game and showing how fast they can get to the nether, and how fast they can get to the dragon fight and take him down, and how fast they can take out a wither. And all those things are good, but particularly in my own playstyle, and I think a lot of people that like me, kind of go from, oh, I was just messing around with this game to a more in-depth play style of it themselves, can benefit from seeing that you don't have to just play this game as a mad dash for the finish. And to all those people who do ask, how do you not get bored playing Minecraft? That's a part of it. Don't make it about just racing to the finish line and saying, oh yeah, I got it all done. Because then are you going to start over? I actually find that in some of my worlds, as you guys may see from the occasional loading screens, I've got a couple different worlds of my own, and at least 2 of those 4 or 5, however many are in there, are fairly developed and mature worlds that have a lot of trading going on. They've all had ender dragons defeated, so the fortresses explored, and full brewing and all that. Lots of time in the nether and portals and all that. And we're going to get to all that. I really look forward to that depth, as I've said many times. But while we're doing that, why did that even... sorry. Okay. I think this was in our melon section. Got a hoe. So while I am kind of quickly pushing the villager trading and really focused on getting those tools, a part of that is that I don't want to prolong the diamond mining and stuff that we've been doing down there, where you just, there's costs to things, right? And the faster you can mine, the less painful it is to watch a episode that's going to have a lot of underground mining, or particularly once you get into the nether. If you're blowing through iron picks on your trip, it's going to be a lot shorter lived than it would be if you had those enchanted. So we're now getting much closer with that Fortune 3, and we got 2 more levels just from our chickens, which is wonderful. We'll continue to get some experience as we trade with the villagers. We will set up our fortune pick, and when we next find a pocket of diamonds, we'll be able to get a whole bunch back, and that, with a little help from our hopefully growing up villager friends, if we've got efficiency and unbreaking locked in, we're ready to go. And the other good part about having both Fortune and Silk Touch in book form is that when we start at an enchanting table, we're gonna pick one of 2 different enchantments when we throw those tools down. They'll either be an efficiency 4 or an unbreaking 3 to start, and both of those come up readily enough that when you're not looking specifically for Fortune 3 in particular on the pick, it doesn't take too many rerolls to see the one that you want to get, and then you can fill in the other pieces from the librarians. And the only stumbling block in that scenario is that you may have to wipe 1 or 2 if you set it up in the enchanting table and you see efficiency 4 out there, and you're like, yeah, that's great. I can add a book, but even if I don't have efficiency 5 as a trade option, efficiency 4, just like with this axe, will get the job done and make things a lot better than just working with iron. If you have that set up, then you can take the first one that shows up, unbreaking or efficiency, boom, got it, go, add in the other pieces from your librarians, and we're off to the races. And with even 1 Silk Touch high efficiency pick, our nether work will become much, much easier. And typically, even before I get to the point of shulkers, once we have Silk Touch, we'll leave the Fortune pick at home. We won't carry that one around. It will just be here for where we process the blocks, and we'll try to get 3 or 4 Silk Touch picks pretty quickly, and just put them where we've always stored our iron picks. We won't, we'll just carry a single shovel and a single axe when we get those ready to go, but in that way, we can use them down through their durability, but we don't have to be constantly running back and forth to replace tools. And until we get going with our shulker boxes, and that's the next thing. Another thing we can do in this session here, and I'm just eyeballing the time. We're just still barely getting started, but another thing that we want to do before we wrap up today, because it's easy and we're now set up to do it, we should make a couple ender chests and have those to at least have a bit more storage, because just like when you're first planting carrots or beets or potatoes or anything like that, going from 1 to 3 on that first fully mature plant harvesting, you're more than doubling your capacity in that very first act. Same thing with an ender chest. It's only 1. You can have a whole bunch of them scattered around your world, and that's a convenient thing. But in terms of just additional storage, they're not crazy. You only get a small, effectively an extra small chest. But just having an extra small chest is a whole lot more than you currently have in your pocket. So makes a lot of difference early. It's kind of like having Donkey and Lud, I think we named him, and allowing him to carry some of our tools on our riding adventures when we can add our tools or whatever to our ender chest and have a few extra spots to put things away as our as we get full stack. If you get a full stack of stone here, you can move that off to the ender chest. You're not going to need it again. Or more specifically, if it was coal, right? You're going to have raw silk pieces of coal that you're not going to process until you get home with your fortunate pick. So once you have those stacks filled up, just throw them off in the ender chest, and you won't have to be going in and out of it to get those. And with having the silk pick, you can place it and then pick that ender chest back up again wherever you need it. So definitely something we want to get done today. I think I just, this was a little bit of a stretch, but with those beets, the carrots are still behind the beets, and I think they're going to benefit from more time, and the wheat and the potatoes are even further behind. So we will take what we've got here, go back over to our villager outpost. Hopefully we're getting close to the evening. I know it's we started with our chickens over here. We're still kind of midday, so we're a little early, but why don't we let's do two things. You may have seen from my head fake there what I'm thinking, but I'd like to go ahead and harvest our sugar. I think it's probably at a good place now. Just see how uniform and nice that looks. So it's ready to go. But I talked about let's get a chest down there so that we can dump sugar as we get it. We'll go ahead and do 2 double chests down on the beach near our sugar farm. That'll be a good amount of time to use up the rest of this afternoon. And then even if we're racing through the twilight to get to our boat to go back over to our villagers, that will work out just fine. So with these, we'll have kind of a nice supply of the raw material for paper, if and when we finally do get a villager who wants to sell us a good book and buy some paper. And if he never does, well, then we've just got a whole lot of sugar cane, raw sugar. You see that sugar in the raw? I never understand what, is that just fancy marketing? I know granulated sugar and that kind of stuff. It speaks to the processing stuff. It's all crystally, but you're effectively taking a plant product anyway to make the sugar. And I don't know a whole lot about sugar production. I've lived in Colorado and parts north of there in the United States, so I can tell you a lot more about growing corn, and I've never done that either, than processing sugar, but I know that it comes out, but that those packs of raw sugar, they're trendy to put in coffee and all that kind of stuff, and I kind of wonder, is that just a reason to drop a few extra bucks on something that you don't absolutely need, I think, but maybe there's a reason. Any big raw sugar fans here and care to enlighten? I personally, I guess if it came right down to it, would prefer the old molasses converted into rum versions of shipping and storing sugar, if you want a preferred sugar form. But I really avoid the sugar at this point in all its forms. It's something, as you get a little bit older, if you didn't pay much attention to it as a kid, it can be have some pretty negative impacts on you over your life. So as fun as sugary stuff is when we're growing up, definitely worth doing a little bit of self-moderation. Every once in a while, maybe skip the soda and switch that out just to water or even an unsweetened tea. And That's one I've found as I've become more conscious of, you know, how little sugar we need, and how negative having excessive sugar in our bodies can be for us. It's it's one of those where when you start, kind of what all has sugar in it, you start it's worth kind of taking a look, whether you're online or just carefully reading the food labels on stuff that you do buy. But yeah, once you learn the versions of syrups and things, corn syrup. I think most people at this point know that's just the sugary extract from corn, and the varieties of corn that are extra sugary sweet corn. People really prize for that flavor, and I'm a big fan too. I love it, but it's definitely a thing that sneaks up on you, and drinks are one that I am just constantly. How do you want potato? Oh, maybe you're a new guy. I don't know. Whoa, what's all that? Okay, we're gonna do him. Man, is that all you're gonna give me for these beets? We're gonna go through all the beets, and you. Oh, there we go. All right. You want melons now, right? Yeah. Take that, Mr. Only Beats guy. Um, so yeah, there was this guy, but he's already good and he had beets. And there was one other guy, but he only wanted potatoes. I can't believe we hadn't leveled him up. But you're an apprentice. It's just bizarre to me. We've had so many potatoes. Okay, this is even better though. Good reason to break. Now we want to check all our little friends here, and we'll open up a gate to see. Okay, you're going to go to the bed in the corner there. That's fine. I was expecting that maybe you'd leave that to the guy that's stuck on that gate, but okay. So now he'll have to go back over. And those little green things there that, kind of look like growth in a crop, or when you're watching chickens and things try for their. I don't know why you aren't willing to jump over these things just to go back to bed. It's very strange. And then you go over there. What's wrong with this bed? What happened to that guy? Maybe my golem understands. I don't. But the end result is very good. I thought about trying to move these guys out, and I prefer them to grow up first, because once you get them associated to exterior beds, that'll make it tougher if the other ones become adults first to get them all squared away and happy. We've seen loads of examples of how they can be a little finicky, and you scratch your head and go. they come off as a little bit crazy when you don't really know what mechanic is giving them trouble. But now, what is going on here? Did I not close your... Oh, goodness. Dude. No. You are... Oh, how did I leave that open? Big mistake on my part. And not the end of the world. He's not, as long as I don't have any of these open. As long as these are shut, he can't do any real harm to himself. But it does make it more difficult. In the evening, he'll go back to bed, and he should retain his clothes. Although, yeah, this game just got a little dark, folks. Got a little dark, and it was kind of like one of those signs of fate. Oh, you were coming out? I'm sorry, buddy. Here, let's go for a boat ride. If I can get the boat down. Perfect. I hope... I don't want it to be dark, but I do want to solve this problem, and this is a good solution. So he is our and I'm going to double check it. See, he's our 30 emerald mining guy, mending guy, and we're never going to buy that again. He doesn't want to buy paper from us. Um, so what we'll do is send him with tidings back to his original villager friends, and he can spread the wonders of his cool new home. The reason it's dark, and I have a feeling he may have a tough adjustment in front of him, is that he's until we break his bed and get it reassigned out to somebody else, he may try to bolt all the way back to our outpost, just like those original guys had confusion about their beds, and we had to go have that frantic night trying to find unclaimed beds and break them in the village. So we're basically trying to do that in reverse now. We want to bring him back, and when I was saying this is about to get dark, we could have left him out on an ice floe and just left him to his fate, and the result would have been just as good. All we're really trying to do is make sure that we now have his room available for a trade that's not one we're never ever going to use again in a duplicate. But if I was him, I'd much rather just, hey, if my options are being left out in the dark of night in some unfamiliar place with polar bears that may or may not adopt me into their pack. Do bears live in packs? I don't know. Prides? Something. Whatever of bears. They're pretty individual, so it's not like they really group. But if he was left to rely on the goodness of bears to to form a new community, I would definitely worry for him, and he may still try to. This is going to be the big question mark here: is will he go? Come on, come this way. Let's go talk to some of these guys. He's going to have a drawback to that lectern we left, and he's going to have a drawback to the bed. Oh, you're going to go right back in. No, not in the boat. Okay, well, I'm going to put a bed up here. Maybe where we took that one out of the other house, which I think was this corner. And I hope you find it. I'm going to wish you good luck. If you don't, and have a tragedy as you try to swim across the ocean, I did my best. I'm sorry. So, little random diversion. Now, just so he doesn't, start sniffling as we're rowing away. Maybe cut the corner here, not just jump in the boat and be like, "Hey, you're not coming back with us. Have a nice life. Good luck." We will, for his sake, though, when we get back, we'll break his lectern and his bed and try to maybe give him a fresh start when he's out here. But yeah, that's when how fate tells you that you're gonna have a better trade, or at least a more useful one. And I'm grateful to that guy. He got us our first 3-4 mending books, so he's definitely earned a place in our hearts. And I didn't want him to just just get offered to the zombies as a sacrifice. That's not cool. We're not trying to give them any ideas that they should expect that kind of thing, or we want to reward their behavior. No. So all joking aside, more than likely, if we go back all the way back over to here, the village chunk shouldn't be loaded, and we'll just kind of exist as a non-loaded entity until we next go past that village. And if at that point we've already broken the beds and the lectern, I've got, I think he's got even or better chances of surviving this whole deal. So we'll do him the full solid, we'll break the bed and try to do that here before it gets full dark. So that ended up being a good way to spend the daytime here. And now, of course, well, the same that may save his life didn't really help us, and that's that unless they just come back as we reload the chunks, these guys aren't likely to have grown up. But he did. Good stuff. All right, so this one, break the bed, break the sign. We don't need that, and I don't know how much that will matter, but we'll break his lectern too. That should, I hope, kind of erase his memory for this spot. He'll never give up that trade. That's locked in. But he wouldn't have it, or be able to perform his duties until he finds a new lectern. There was one in that town. Maybe we could throw a new one down on a future visit or something. But we've got a bed that's been lifted and put back down, so it should now be claimable by some of these other guys. And when maybe that adult one wasn't an adult, they seem much more likely now to look big if they stand on a bed. If that's a me thing or a game thing or what, but a lot in this world that, I've seen them and like, oh, we've got an adult, and then I look again and they're not. So, But very happy that we've got that. That further helps our efforts of can we get more ready. Oh, you're big, but maybe you're stuck on the gate. Well, when we get back to bedtime, which should be coming any time now after a little boat adventure, hopefully you'll go. So this is the other guy, that little guy that was over here. I keep watching for too because oh, look, there he is. Shh. No. What'd you get? Yeah. We'll work on that. Come here. Come here, buddy. Hopefully he's going to want to come back to sleep. He may be associated to a different bed. But he may come back for a new job. That other one grew up in that cell. Where did... Why is this so weird? He couldn't be... Ha! Alright. You're in. Now what do you have for me? Just paper. But at least we got you set. Now, he may not go to bed tonight, and that's what I kind of want to watch when the others lay down. Because he may have slept in the bed over there overnight last night. And if he did, then we'll need to break whatever he's waiting to get back to, so that he'll settle down into this one. Well, doesn't hurt to be able to look at a couple new books here while we're waiting. Okay, some of the others are laying down. See how he's not, and he's kind of looking over there, so I suspect that's where he wants to get to. And if we just come over here, break, boom, good. Now, don't mind me, sir, just keep sleeping. Okay, so in bed, got a new job. We'll keep rolling him to try to replace that mending. Now you, sir, we need to do a bit more with the gates, but let's put him into this one. So there's open path, and here you go. Now he'll wander for a little while, but he may be trying to get back to a different bed too. Oh, maybe he's going to go to this one. That's fine. Hey man, I'm not telling you how. You want to go to that bed? Cool. You want it? I suspect though he's trying to get there, so we'll pick that one up. And now you guys are going to be stuck on each other. Go there. Okay, you're a little out of the way. I'm not gonna lie, in terms of popularity and likelihood that I'm gonna work with you, I may have to wait a little bit. So we should have one more bed becoming available. This guy's our next candidate to grow up, and we still have 2 beds, one there, one here, available to move him to, but we've now got 2 villagers to work with tomorrow, and that is pretty alright. So along those lines, we'll get all our supplies. We're going to trade too, just to clear out the inventory, really. They should all want pumpkins or melons when they wake up. Be ready for that. I don't know what was going on there. I guess it's April 20th over in Europe already. Maybe that was it. Had a very characteristic sound that I don't think was really Minecraft based, but anywho, well, let's try to. Oh, see, this guy needs update anyway. He must have been our guy from the last time. So, boom. Why didn't you? There you go. Masters. Now he's got some. Stu, maybe we hadn't even looked at these on any of the other masters, but when they do grow up, you can eventually get golden carrots and the glistering melons from these guys. I've shown you how to make both of them too. You can do that. 1-to-1 isn't too bad a price for a good food supply, so all is good. But what we mainly want to do at the moment is just move the inventory that we can here, as we're always going to see. We're going to run short on melons and struggle to find the guys with the pumpkins. But there we go. All right, now here. I mean, yeah, we could sell some more pumpkins, but we'll catch them up when we have enough to make a stack. So, doing very well on the emeralds again, and now it's just the RNG game. We hope that our hard work here with this gentleman, getting him happy and situated, will pay dividends. So, hook us up. How about it? Huh? Piercing 4. Come on, dude. Ooh. Excuse me for the little sniffly sound. I don't know if it was loud in the mic as it was in my head, but the allergies continue, and with snow and rain and everything, I felt it a bit. This is another one of those that it's maybe twice, but even more than a respiration. Getting the 4th tier of that is pretty appealing, and it's critical. You can falling is a real way to lose a world. So I'm wavering again. It would be a slam dunk if you wanted to buy some paper. Do we want to wait? Are any of these other guys grown up? I don't know. Let's approach it that way at least. Let's leave it. Oh, he did grow up, and he's got another one over there. So I'm okay to leave that in place. And if that doesn't make sense, I'll try to explain it. Eventually, if you don't act on a trade that a villager offers, regardless of profession, they will change it. They're not just gonna sit forever with the same thing, and that can be a problem if you definitely have gotten burned where earlier or out when I'm exploring and don't have all this worlds before I even knew how to do it. You'd find a villager at a at a village, you know, out on a 5,000 block adventure on ground or with boats or whatever. And you go, oh, that's great. I need to go get my emeralds. And by the time you get back, it's gone. Something new. So you can get burned that way, but we will do our best here. And I'd like to get him out before we... Because what I don't want to do is then have to do the bed juggle thing where, you know, they switch when I pick up the lectern. The guy that likes the bed doesn't end up in here, but it's going to be a little bit of a game to see if he'll go over by the gate and let him out before, okay, go, woohoo, perfect. So now we can just roll this guy. Respiration 1, not cool, and we're going to leave that feather falling 4. If we get one or the other, the desired other 2, then we'll go ahead and grab that and have it. You know, we've got another guy out there now. He's also there, so we potentially have at least one extra trade out there. It's not the no-brainer that Fortune 3 was. That was I want efficiency and unbreaking more, but I want that Fortune 3 bad enough to take it when I see it. Feather falling, we could roll enough boots or enough individual books just through the enchanting table to eventually get it. But see, you can... Even our mending 30 wasn't too terrible. That one was 38. So it's definitely possible to have some that... a silk touch for 8. I think our silk touch is 7. So I'm not too worried about that. At least it's comparably single-digit low. Smite 4. No thank you. Nope. We get that nice bubbling lava behind us. Thank you. Just game sounds can dominate here for a second. We've talked all this through, and we know what we're looking for. That must actually look, but this is another reason why, it seems a little bit to me that there's a bit of maybe logic thrown into some of these offers, and it may just be that they roll through and get a propensity to re-offer on the same. But we've seen Fire Aspect a lot. We've seen Smite 4 a couple times. So it sometimes feels that you start to see patterns, not patterns, but just repetitions on a certain day or with a certain number of trades. And I've never known, I don't really care to know the mechanics behind it. If it's a seed-based, you will eventually roll through all of these in this order, or if it's, here are the numbers and here's what you're going to get. And for the powers, I think it is a number roll. If we're going to offer a villager trade and he'll have, these 2 options, and then they will be this strength. It's that strength, the scarcity at the higher levels is controlled by a number roll. But I don't know how much the individuals and, whether paper is offered, that kind of stuff, how much that comes down individually to numbers, or if the list is built out of the seed. It's interesting to think about. It's a little bit weird thing about for me streaming in the evening, as opposed to or recording in the evening as opposed to some of the daytime ones that I've done is, I sitting here more quietly, which I understand. It's not something you don't want to have a whole lot of dead air when you're making these, either for recording or. Oh, okay. Now let's go see where that other guy ended up. Is he back? No, so you've. Is it that one? Oh, because you still want to get back to your bed. Let's break that. Go to there. Hopefully that's your turn. So again, we've gotten another good enchantment, or at least another good offer, but we've completely done what we wanted to in terms of getting enough villagers to allow us to grab some of these others. So we've got 1, 2, 3 all in bed with lecterns and a profession. None of them are locked in, but we'll probably, knowing that, we'll probably go ahead and take the feather. It may be a bit of a push, and I could live to regret it, or live to modify that a little bit. But now we get into a more selective. There's a couple others that we would take at a level 5 as well. The feather falling, we've talked about it previously. I would consider, or I never really remember. I think 4 is the highest for feather falling. If it goes up to 5, we've got a librarian. We can buy more. It's that sound. What on earth? It's got to be like, some kind of drown getting stuck. But bizarre sound effect. Okay, so this is our feather falling 4. We'll take it. He's now set. It's not something we're going to throw on a blank pair of boots, but it's high value for the effect that it gives. And that was 33? Is that what we said? We have to restart that whole deal. 33. Good. All right. So he's done and set. We can forget about him. Everybody over here, we've just got these 2 to now roll with. And let's take a quick look here. As previously. Okay, good. And good. Oh, not the steak. I get the steak. You guys get the potatoes. It's half of a classic combination, though. Steak and potatoes. Alright. Get you guys making what could be a last batch of friends. As I said, there's some later ones, and I would prefer not to have to make a new roll of cells at this point, because I would rather do that once we have efficiency 5 and silk touch and everything on our axe, and can do it that much more quickly the next time around, instead of plugging away on the iron axe and getting sore arms and everything else. Let's use a power tool and we got it. But by growing those extra guys, we got 1 more, so as I expect, it will at least take a couple days of these 2 guys, or a day, to get these 2 to stuff that we really want. Infinity at 6. I think we picked Infinity up finally. Maybe not. 6 was probably the way to go there, and this would kind of get to be the time for it. But like I said, the last time around, he was stuck on fire aspect, and given a lot of those, sometimes they get repetitive, and if he's in an infinity cycle, that may tempt me if we don't see one of the others before. And he's still stuck on that smite 4, though. I mean, if you want to go smite and tempt me, make it a 5, buddy. I still don't think I'm going to jump at it just yet. And you know, eventually we'll want to smite 5 sword, particularly before we go fight the Wither. But we can, between in the enchanting table and everything else, we could roll with that pretty hard. But what we're primarily still looking for is that just had one of those light brownout things in the place here. I know, wet, heavy snow out here. We don't tend to have a whole lot of aerial power lines. Some big, big between substations, the lines are big and big towers. But unlike the East Coast and some of the even here in Colorado, in like downtown Denver, some of the older home neighborhoods, certainly they have alleyways and strings of power cables along the way. But for the most part, our power is buried. Doesn't mean that sometimes when you've got spring snows, you don't run into stuff. And I've now seen it flash twice. So I don't know. I think if I lose power, I'm gonna lose my internet because my router would go down. The laptop obviously has got some battery life to it, and I don't know what that would do. I think I would at least get the opportunity to let you guys know, hey, the power went down. I'm gonna wrap up this episode and see you next time, kind of deal. I do. Did you guys? Back in the day when I was a kid, again, I'm not the youngest person doing this for sure. I hope I'm not the oldest. I don't feel that, but there were certainly, if you had power outages, the deal was flashlights, right? Everybody had actual, plastic. When you're a kid, you had plastic ones, but you put some C or some D cell batteries in them, and you would try to always have a flashlight in the known flashlight spot, so that middle of the night and all of a sudden the power's out, you can kind of feel your way to that and go get it. Well, for me, and I love camping. I don't do it as much as I used to. It kind of one of those things as you go through life, those weekends and things that used to seem like you could do it all the time kind of get fewer and further between. But I love putting a tent up or even sleeping in the back of my truck after going up into the mountains or out onto the plains, or just give me a state park or a wilderness area outside of hunting season. Any of those kind of places where you can kind of get away from the modern technology world that we have and look at the stars away from light pollution and all that. But the reason I got on that sidetrack is for probably not quite 20 years, but close to it. Nowadays, I carry a headlamp in whatever pack I've got, whatever backpack or anything like that. That top easily flip small pocket that goes in the top of the pack. Headlamp. First thing in that I can grab, no matter what, because if you pull into wherever you're going to camp at dusk and it's getting dark and you want to find a good spot, you want to make sure there's no random sticks or rocks or anything that you're going to stumble into once it gets even darker, that's the first thing I have to grab. And when I am at home, and now I have, way back, they used to be, kind of this headlamp, with the batteries and all that. They were more expensive, so you kind of had one, and it was high end gear. Oh my goodness, 12? Well, yes, sir. Gimme, gimme, gimme. I'm just gonna take them all. Uh, I don't even know. Oh, it just did a stack. So that's fantastic. We've got 5 in our inventory, and that's a darn good start to where we want to be. I think that's all I'm going to take at the moment, but you can see just doing that took him halfway up to the next level, and this may be one where we see another book trade eventually, which would be great. Usually those are garbage. Like I said, you're never going to re-roll that, but we would never want to. You're our number one buddy. I mean, 10 emerald mending is good. I'm not going to ever complain about that, but 12 for unbreaking 3? Man, they paid us back for our patience, didn't they? Wow. That, what that ultimately really means is that I don't care if efficiency wants to be 60. That'll be okay, because we'll pair that up with an unbreaking 3 for just about, for 12. And we will take that all day long. Oh my goodness. Happy days. Excuse the hiccups. Again, after dinner a little bit. So anyway, flickering lights. That was obviously more important. So I keep a headlamp now that I have multiple at every, I think most people that camp or do things like that, I don't think everybody necessarily has a headlamp, but most people that would regularly use or have used a flashlight now probably have at least one headlamp. And, it's nothing fancy, but I keep one hanging on a hook on my wall, and it's always right there indoors. It doesn't, it may go, if I was going on a trip and I needed a spare or a backup or just wanted to have an extra, I would certainly bring it along, if that was appropriate. But for the most part, it has its hook and it lives there, and I can find that full on in the dark and stumble my way to it if the lights go out. And we don't lose power a whole lot here, I think largely because most of our power is buried. So even when we get snow like this, I think you see those flickers, and they tend to be as the power companies and things are just balancing need. And I'd like to envision there's always the second shift night shift guy that's. And I used to be this guy at my first few jobs. I was in computer tech stuff and support world and all that. And when I was in my early 20s, I would work the kind of get into work mid-morning and work until I think like 9 o'clock. And as some of you people that are that age now, you're like, well, that sounds pretty good. And it was great, because when you're that age, you are more than happy to sleep in a little bit later and have your evenings, because it probably wasn't real healthy for me, but I was in my early 20s and it didn't really matter a whole lot. But I think, grab some dinner most nights, or pack it with me, Tupperware leftovers or whatever, and I would eat. And so at 9 o'clock, I'd get off work, and I could then be ready to go meet up with my friends. It was kind of that extension of college age stuff where, nothing really started until 10 o'clock. And those days are long gone for me now. I'm not that far removed, but bedtime is definitely a little more normal these days. So, all that aside, it was great having those evening off shift things when you don't have family. Nowadays, I'd lose a lot of uh, my social life, and social life changes a little bit as you get older. I don't have kids or anything like that, so I don't have those same evening activities that some of my friends do. But whether you have kids or not, nowadays you kind of see your friends for dinner or something like that. You may go to a show or something after. But well, pre-pandemic, who knows if we'll get all the way back to some of that kind of stuff. But yeah, you do those things earlier. So if I worked until 9 o'clock, with regularity now, it would be a little more trying. If it was a requirement or the right job, I needed to, I'd deal with it. That's part of being an adult. You gotta do some of those kind of things. But it certainly is a good thing if your life circumstances are right to get that second, or even I would never want to constantly work a third shift. I don't think. I like daytime activities a little bit too much, but it's another one of those deals where when you need to do that kind of thing, you go ahead and do it. So I hadn't even noticed driving over here. We were talking, and we want to. I was thinking like, oh, okay, we're gonna have to wait a while to actually put some of these unbreakings on, but we've got 30 levels, so fingers crossed. Perfect. Now, this can go haywire. If this, not completely haywire, but I want that fortune. If this pulled a silk touch instead, we'd probably leave it now because, okay, so you go silk touch and just break them with a regular iron axe eventually and get 3 more and get your fortune 3. But here goes nothing. No loss. Just plain old efficiency 4. That's okay. We'll take that. Now we want our fortune 3. We want the mending that we have. We'll save these 2. And see where eventually, when we have more levels and we want to do more targeted enchanting. But for right now, mending, fortune 3, and unbreaking 3. And if we can get all these without needing to gain more levels, we'll be doing real well. Oh, so good. For this one, I really don't even care too much about the efficiency 5. It's nice once we have it in book form and we got extra levels and we're just sitting along. At some point, we're going to throw it on. Until then, though, we are going to sit on this guy and be thrilled. If you don't know how Fortune 3 works, I'm not going to just show it to you for the sake of showing it to you. Temporarily, we'll throw him in there, and what we're going to do, and this may be, man, we need. Oh, now we really need this silk touch one to get the diamonds and all that kind of stuff. But with that maybe is the trigger for more underground mining here. See if we can't get out those diamonds. And we're also going to want a long strip of space, sort of similar to our fields over here, because we're going to want to be able to process the ores that we do bring back. And again, that's removed from us by the silk touch, and I shouldn't have even stashed it. I guess we should carry it until we find the diamonds, really, but I'm not sure we're exactly ready to do that yet. I got so flustered and excited, I went running upstairs without thinking about it. So these 2 we want to do, but the priority now is the bow to get the unbreaking on, because it won't mend. So we want to extend its life the most, and now infinity, because the efficiency doesn't affect the bows as much, and we can live without it on our picks. So infinity, now we're going to regret not taking it at 6, but we got it really paid off. If you think back, and all this could play out on different villagers, it may not matter at all. But when you think about how it rolls, we had been teased with an Infinity 6 book, and I said, I blew through it. Maybe I should have taken that. That's a really good price. But had I, you never know if we would have got the Unbreaking at 12, and we're going to buy a lot more of those than we'll ever buy of Infinity. So, big win. So the next one, we already had it on here, so we don't need to worry about anything more here. If any of you guys think of something other than thorns, I'm not going to put thorns on it, but anything else that you'd like to see on the chest, let me know. But it should be pretty good. So next up, man, I forgot we already had it on there too. So I overstocked, which is tongue in cheek because we're going to use them all, but we've got extra on our Unbreaking. So as I said, we want to carry this. I don't know, cold death grip on our Fortune Axe until we find our man, brain's gone into overdrive. Until we find our diamonds and can harvest the first ones with fortune. Hopefully it doesn't need to be jaw popping, but enough to build up a few more picks. And then repeat. But as you can see now, having applied those, we're down to 2 levels. So the good news with books, you can re-earn the first dozen 15 levels pretty quickly every time. So if you're purely buying books, which you can for picks, we're very close to being able to do just that. Once we get that efficiency 5, we'll be able to buy all 4 of the books that we need and just straight up, pay to upgrade our picks to the exactly the tool that we want, and that will work out pretty well. So we talked about, and I'm just mentally resetting when we're over here, and spatially, I guess that this is where we talked about it, so that's why it came back to mind. Let's go do our. Oh, we can't. Can we? We need blaze powder to make eyes of ender to make ender chest, don't we? So I was talking out of my brain earlier when I said that we could get an ender chest. We actually have to go to the nether to get that squared away. So that is not on our list of imminent things to do. I'm sad I missed those beets. And while that's reminding me that we're out of wheat for the cows, I don't think I need to deal with that. We're long on everything cow-based, so let's just leave them as is. Hey, Wandering Trader. Does everybody remember this is a quiz? Who knows what we hope that this guy has above all else? One super valuable item. He doesn't have it, but we would have loved a piece of bamboo. Next time, buddy. And we don't have to bother with the leads anymore. We've got slime balls, plenty. We've clearly got a slime chunk that's touching on our basement room, so we're getting some of those. We've kind of squared things away, and I am now setting back up towards a. Let's go diamond hunting. We've got what we were waiting on. It's more important now than the efficiency 5 or even happening upon an infinity. It'll give us a little chance for some more adventure. We'll put that away. We don't need to carry a spare just junk little garbage axe. We've got this one, and likely we won't need it either. We'll keep our water. We'll keep our stone. 2 sets of torches. And it's just good practice to keep our stake filled up. Now, are we? This is. I'm gonna top this off, but that's a little maybe we ate some raw beef or something like that when we were hungry. I don't know. Why would we have a not quite full stack when beef is our prime, could be our prime export. Good enough. We'll cook a full stack of those to have in reserve. As I'd said in a previous episode, I like to always keep at least a full stack and then change ready to go, so I can just always refill that and top it off. We got some more gold here that we just cooked, and we may have some more in the box. So while we're on that theme, that's not more gold. Yeah, that's what, 4 apples. So we'll make those, add them, and we're just, I don't know that we've even needed to use one yet, but we'll keep building that until we have a stack, and, that only gets replaced once we have spare enchanted golden apples to carry around with us in case of emergencies. So these handle most things pretty well. You find yourself unexpectedly taking a dip in a lake of lava and need to deal with some mobs that pushed you in. Munch a golden apple as you get started. That'll make it a little less hectic. So here we go. What I was kind of incoherently trying to relay in the excitement of throwing those unbreakings on all my various tools was, in addition to really just wanting to find the diamonds, this is going to push our need to get some of these chambers pushed out a little ways as well, because we want to have lots of space to process our eventually silk-touched diamonds. Now, I don't remember anybody that's watched more recently. I think we even, went a couple episodes after our last diamond thing because we were working on the villagers. But I don't remember exactly how we left things here at the far end of this tunnel. And if we could kind of run more consistently straight would be nice. So we'll push around, and fingers crossed. I mean, I'm not going to ask for any more luck in this session, and we're starting this at the worst time. Once we get to wherever we're going, we'll maybe stop, restart the recording because we've run a little long. We haven't run long yet, but we're getting close, and I think by the time we use our iron picks up or explore cave or whatever turns us back, it would be a pretty long episode. So thank you as always, everyone. I know not everyone watches these all together. Obviously they get staggered a little bit intentionally as they get uploaded, but we'll save the game. I will quit it out while we're not running live. And refresh the memory around the game and everything for those of you who may encounter a little bit slower systems and things like that. Particularly once you get big chicken or cow farms going, if you have lots of entities, that can cause some lag. Just go ahead and restart the game every once in a while on your system. It'll store all that cached memory and things that it's already allocated. Just let it get a fresh start, and that can help. But we'll talk about that and more as we go on our diamond hunt in the next episode. For me, that will be fairly quickly here. As always, when we're in the middle of a longer session, take the opportunity to remind anybody watching along at home, between videos when you're just watching them, use those restarts as an opportunity to get up, stretch your legs, walk around, maybe drink a glass of water, avoid the sugary drinks when you can. And if you got pets, give them a good scratch behind the ears and let them know you love them. Otherwise, we'll see you next time, and I really appreciate y'all for being here. Take care now.